Hi everyone and welcome to the NeuroMynds podcast. Today I have the honor to have Elaine with me and we are doing a slight switch, a little different session today, and I'm handing over to you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Great to be here. We are actually going to be, as you say, switching the script a little bit, and I'm going to be interviewing you.
Yes.
So, very uncomfortable. Are you feeling a little uncomfortable now?
No. I think I'm good.
So, because I really wanted to ask you a couple of questions, namely about your company, NeuroMynds, and how it all came about. So, what inspired you to come up with NeuroMynds?
So obviously, as a neurodivergent, it's not an easy explanation because there are so many different aspects and areas that brought me to where I am today. Obviously, for a lot of us, the school sucks. There was a lot of bullying involved, and there was a lot of misunderstandings, and my giftedness was back in the days not seen or identified, so I was called the stupid one. And yeah, I think I never had, let's say, the traditional, I never had the privilege to go the traditional path because it was just not built for me. So I was fighting for my career. I was really fighting for every position, for every promotion that I got, for every salary increase, because I always had to ongoingly justify myself why I do not have a uni degree and blah, blah, blah. On top of that, especially in corporate, you have a lot of toxic leaders that are rather psychopathic, I would say, in my experience. And after 16 years, I started having a big crash and burn, and I realized that I had to change something. I didn't even notice that I was inside of a big burnout until I had the distance from a corporate environment to really understand what was going on inside of me. And also the fact that I was assessed with ADHD and autism and a lot of other things. So around 5 years ago, I knew that I wanted to create and build something to help other neurodivergents to gain clarity much quicker, and at the same time to also shape systems and creating systemic change so everyone can just be as they are. And so NeuroMynds was born out of a burnout or inside of a burnout. And at the same time, I also thought that our healthcare system is not really democratized, because if you know someone, you get a psychotherapy spot much faster, which I don't find fair. And this is, I don't like to say justice sensitivity. I would like to say these are just like the very high morals and ethics that I carry. So I want to make things accessible for everyone equally. And so basically I started coming up with the idea, what would have helped me to gain this clarity like much faster and to really get the record straight. Because scientifically we have neuroscience, we have psychology, but often they don't really work together. Then you also have epigenetics, you have social anthropology, which is the bigger fish to fry because we develop as a society. But how do we develop and in what kind of systems? And 20% are just being excluded, and neurodivergents are not a niche. So I knew that this is quite a complex challenge, but I love complexity, I thrive in complexity. That's why I thought about creating this community with which you can do peer-to-peer support, advocacy, and also systemic change, but then also the education layer, where you really gain insights from a multi-dimensional perspective and not only siloed research. So this is quite hard to combine all of that, but I think it absolutely makes sense to get like a full picture understanding of neurodivergence itself. And the third one is coaching, which is the most important part, because if you do not have access to immediate support, you just prolong the suffering. And sometimes people have 6 months, 12 months of wait lists, which includes a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of commute, which also, as a neurodivergent, your time is so valuable. You just don't want to, have to commute on an ongoing basis. Obviously, there are different preferences as well, but I just wanted to have everything included into one platform. And obviously, in the long run, if the 3 pillars are working well and we see that this really makes an impact in the neurodivergent community, then obviously we also have plenty of other ideas what else we're going to include into the platform to make it even more holistic and more accessible for everyone.
Fantastic.
That was a long story.
It was actually. My mind is now bubbling with questions on what I could ask. I almost don't know where to go first, but I love the fact that something so positive came from a negative experience, because that is not always the case in society. We're often told, repress negative emotions, kind of get rid of them, replace them with something positive. Positive emotions. You must be happy. So, to have something positive actually be created from a negative experience that not only helps you, but helps so many others is really, really wonderful. And, I benefit from it, not only as someone who is neurodivergent, but also as a coach as well.
Yes.
As someone who's neurodivergent, I love the fact that you can go on there as a community member, and you've got like different rooms, like you've got a vent room. You can go on there when you see something that annoys you. Yeah, because you're trying to vent to someone who is not neurodivergent and they just don't necessarily understand why something annoys you.
Absolutely.
It's like,
Absolutely.
God, your dog is so soothing. But yeah, like I say though, so much information, I almost don't know where to start first. You mentioned the justice part. I think that's something that most neurodivergents will also share with you. You mentioned the systems, very much something that I think everyone who is disabled or neurodivergent will share as well. We know our systems are incredibly ableist and non-neuro-inclusive. So I definitely want to touch on these things as well. But just going back to NeuroMynds, the website being www.neurominds.com. But, you've developed this now, it's out there for the community, for people to find coaches on various different subjects. How do you see it developing though? Like, what do you envision for the future of NeuroMynds? How's it going to grow?
Very good question. So my initial vision was to create a platform where everyone has immediate access to support, which is now done. The platform is there, the platform is developing, the community is developing. Then I increased my vision to when it comes to diagnostics, etc. I feel that the diagnostic landscape that we have today is still complicated. It's not really reflecting the reality and the latest research, but if we have a research piece, until that's implemented into something, it takes up to 10 years, which is so slow. And I think we cannot afford that anymore, this slow progress. A lot of neurodivergents suffer thinking that something's wrong with them, even though there's not. So now the vision enhanced towards, I want to have like kind of a pie chart or diagram, like in astrology, where you have all the different traits, such as ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and whatnot, all of them. And then basically you put arrows on how strong which trait is developed inside of you. And then you can connect the arrows together and have like a spider chart, if that makes sense, like in astrology. And then you have the comorbidities that are very, very common, especially in women. For most men, it's common to have depression and anxiety, also for women, but on top of that, women often have thyroid issues, autoimmune diseases, etc., etc. So I envision that we put these two together to have a more holistic picture of what is going on, so people can understand themselves better. But in 20 years from today, I envision that we're not even talking about neurodivergence anymore, because it will be just, as it is a natural cognitive variation of the brain, it will just be embedded in society and in our systems, that everyone can just live as they are. And that's it. you know? So the systems are adjusted where there is no justification or accommodation needed, but it just works. So you enter a workplace and you can just be you. You enter the healthcare system and you can just be you. You will be understood. So my idea is that long term, I don't even want to hear this anymore. I don't want to hear this anymore. But this requires systemic change. And that's going to be the bigger fish to fry. So that's the overarching vision.
I love that vision. I'm perhaps a little less optimistic that 20 years will be enough time to make it happen, having been in the medical system for a very, very long time. For a lot of those comorbidities you mentioned that can co-occur with things like ADHD. But I do love the vision. Very, very much love the vision. However, you know, as you mentioned, the research is so far behind. The gender gap in medical research still isn't closed. So I potentially think maybe 20 years is maybe a wee bit optimistic, but love it. Love it.
I think also like what I can add maybe is as well that we have all the technological advancements, and especially with AI. Back in the days, we had something or some ideas or innovations that have been growing like this. But now with technology, it's exponential. So it goes like this. So I have the hope that things are going to accelerate like so fast, and that we can also like push our politicians, laws and legislations, etc., that we can actually create this change like much faster, because we can still clearly see that we have high turnover costs in companies. And I just want to mention as well that if you lose a neurodivergent high-performing talent, which most of neurodivergents are, this is an equivalent for the company of losing 3 people. So I'm working with data to actually support the economic side of things. Because, I mean, from a person perspective, we don't even have to talk about it, how excruciating it is if you're being fired, if you're being marginalized, if you're being bullied and whatnot. But also like what it does to the economy is crazy. And a lot of people don't even have awareness about it. Yeah. So this is why I'm also like advocating and pushing for, consulting basically our politics to being able to put the pieces together. Because not only from an economic perspective and for companies, this is like a big shit they're putting themselves into, but also these people are then landing at either unemployment benefits, invalidity insurance, etc., which means that the costs of exclusion are so incredibly high that I feel that I also want to be a bit more sharp with NeuroMynds and a little bit poking the bear, because I also learned that the more provocative you're talking about things, the more it makes people really think. Yeah. Positive or negative, doesn't matter, but it makes people think. And I think this is something that with NeuroMynds, I want to, put the fingers into the wound and just be like, hey, we have a problem.
Well, I mean, if it's one thing companies and politicians can understand and pay attention to, it's the money, right?
That's the thing.
So they might not necessarily always grasp the narrative of experience, but they can understand the hardline figures of this is how much money you are losing right now.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's a really important aspect to follow through on.
Yeah.
Because I know myself included, like many people who have left jobs or felt pushed out of jobs because they got to the point where they couldn't mask anymore, and a lot of women actually getting to a point, especially post-pandemic, where the mask slipped, couldn't mask anymore, they got diagnosed, autistic, ADHD, ADHD, God, my brain and my mouth are not working together today. ADHD, and performance issues started. Not because they could no longer do the job. The outcomes kind of were the same. Yeah. But the how was suddenly the problem.
Yeah.
And the communication issues started.
Yes.
So because there was suddenly more focus on the how the job was being done rather than the outcome.
100%.
So yeah, I think the money is definitely worth focusing on. But for everyone else out there who's thinking like, could I be neurodivergent? I'm not sure. I would also say get the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Because labels do matter. Because I do want to come back to something you mentioned in your first answer. You was labeled stupid when you were a kid. So was I before I got diagnosed as dyslexic. It's human nature to give labels to something we don't understand.
Right.
And I would rather have the label dyslexic and ADHD to understand my identity
100%.
than be told I'm stupid, which is a negative label.
Or lazy.
Or lazy. Yeah. I mean, I'm not lazy.
Absolutely
my brain
not.
is constantly going to the point where I can get driven to exhaustion to prove how unlazy I am. And now, I'm like you, I had a burnout because I don't know how to rest. And I had to learn how to rest, which seems stupid at post 40 years old, learning how to rest and feeling guilty for attempting to rest, even though I could barely stand.
I feel you.
So, I do think being diagnosed is important because it helps you understand your identity.
100%.
I like to say the diagnosis, as you hope, we shouldn't necessarily have to worry about these labels, but it really does help you understand your identity and understand who you are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we understand that we're not failing.
100%.
It's not ADHD deficient, it's different.
Yes.
Our brains are just simply different, and that's a wonderful part of natural cognitive diversity.
100%.
But I think that is so very important, and that's why something like NeuroMynds, where you can find people like yourself, find that community, find that support. Find coaches that can help you see how to work with your brain, not against it, the way you've probably been taught to do by society for the largest part of your life.
Yes.
You must do this, you must do that, but actually, no, those things don't work for you. That's why it's always felt like maybe you've not met standards.
Yeah.
It's because you're trying to work against your own system in your brain.
Absolutely. And I think what's also very important to mention here is that in companies, in leading positions, you have a large portion of psychopaths, a large portion. And then you have the others that are super
Feel
nice.
Like my old boss, yeah.
See, same experience here. So you have the ones that are manipulative. They have so much malintent. They really want to destroy you because they feel, and this is a very, very fucked up toxic dynamic a lot of neurodivergents experience, unfortunately, is because psychopaths or narcissists or whatever you want to call them, they feel if you have a very strong personality, if you're genuine, if you're authentic, and if you're speaking the truth. And this totally unsettles them, totally. So what they try in the initial phase is destroying your character. But once they see how resilient you are, and most neurodivergents are resilient as fuck, they are going to destroy your reputation. So this is usually step number 2. So then you're either pushed out or you're being fired. So this is something that happens a lot in workplaces. And I was looking at a wheel of dynamics the other day, and I was like, fuck, that makes so much sense. So you have on top the psychopaths that are leading the planet, most countries and And they're loud and proud, and a lot of people think because they're exhausted, they're tired, inflation is high, we have polycrisis and blah, 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 that the loud ones are the strong ones, and they're gonna fix everything. Yeah, let's put Trump into place so he can fix the things. But unfortunately, this narrative is so wrong. And then basically, the psychopaths are manipulating the masses, neurotypical people that are easy to be manipulated, super easy to be programmed. And then basically the masses are manipulating neurodivergents, because neurodivergents are also humans that want to belong. And if they don't know, they cannot distinguish between neurotypical and neurodivergent people, which means that they want to belong to the masses as everyone else, but they're being gaslighted, marginalized and sidelined because they're different. And the masses, they feel it, that something's different, but they cannot name it. And this is why education is so important. But to close the circle, Neurodivergents are the absolute only ones that are being able to see through the bullshit of psychopaths, the games they are playing, etc., and being able to dismantle it. So I think we have a very important loop where education is needed and where a lot of sense of self is important to understand if you are neurodivergent, to raise awareness also amongst other neurodivergents, so we can actually create this change and not let the evil take over anymore. So I think with NeuroMynds there is a lot of elements, and I could go on and on and on and on and on and deeper on what we have to change to make this planet like livable and happy for the majority of people, you know. And at the end of the day, we all have one goal as human beings. We're all looking for love. We want love. We want to embody love. And it is so hard to be love, to find love, to see love, you know. And I think it is important to, to really being able to have the strength to get into the room and say, what you've done is ethical bullshit. And you know that this is not right and we shouldn't be doing this like that. It takes a lot of courage, and it will create a lot of friction, especially in workplaces, because this is not something leaders wanna hear. If they're doing something morally wrong and then someone's putting the finger into the wound. This is the most uncomfortable thing you can do to them, but I think it is unfortunately very much needed.
Yeah, I know a lot of the neurodivergent individuals I personally know have a very high sense of justice, which they've all said, you know, has caused some issues in the past.
Oh,
you know, speaking up, that people don't like, and they get called out. You know, you're too much. You're
the usuals.
Yeah, and a lot of them, you know, it can spark this damage to their confidence. You know, they try and repress themselves to fit in, as you say. So I always say, like, no, you know, fighting for what's right, fighting for justice is a good thing, but with the acknowledgement that yes, it can hurt and it can cost. But we don't want, you know, the Oompa Loompas of the world who are, you know, creating wars to win, right? So we do have to keep going.
Yes. And the thing is, I mean, as a human being, doesn't matter if you're neurodivergent or not. At the end of the day, any change, you have to leave your old self. You have to create space for the new you that can come. And that's often a very, very painful process. And I cannot count the days on how many times I sat on the floor in my bathroom crying because I was fighting against my own demons. Finally, I accepted them. Now they're like part of me, and the darkness is as well part of me, which is something that I denied for a very long time. I was crying because I didn't know like how to do things and how to move the needle and how to help in the best way. But at some point, after like 2.5 years of this process of really looking at myself in the mirror, I was like, okay, Lisa, you have to ditch the overthinking and just doing it. You have to build the plane while flying it. And this is honestly, I think, the best journey and the most fruitful journey that I've ever had in my entire career, because I think I learned in 1.5 years of creating NeuroMynds more than I did in my entire 16 years of career, because it pushes you out so much of your comfort zone. And I'm not talking about setting up the company, creating documentation, doing social media. I'm talking about the battles that you are fighting with yourself. These are the ones that are coming on top of building a company. Because whenever you encounter a problem, you're like, oh shit, there's a limiting belief popping up. Okay, how do I fix this? And then you have another journey that's been put on top. So it's very difficult to do this, especially when you have been such an indoctrinated person as I was, because I haven't been choosing my path consciously. I just slipped into it. And then I was in banking and finance, Shark Tank, people with elbows and low emotional intelligence, you know. It's like, I think there is a lot of battles to fight until you're reaching the point where you can say, okay, I think now I'm really like rock solid with what I'm doing, with how things are developing, etc. Yeah, it's just very, very interesting. Yeah.
And I mean, they usually say like the biggest barrier you'll have in your life is yourself. Because, you know,
Agree.
You're either searching for perfection or you have those self-limiting beliefs, and depending on your background or your gender, those, you might have been indoctrinated more with those. So yeah, give up looking for perfection.
Exactly.
Does not exist.
Nope.
Even though I've searched for it so long, no, bullshit, doesn't happen. And once I gave that up, life is so much happier.
100%, it's so much easier.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, you just go for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had slightly the same thing when I was trying to set up the coaching company. I was like, the website has to be perfect. The website will never be fucking perfect.
No.
I am still tinkering with it, even though the company's been live for a few months.
Same.
I was like, oh, I can improve that. Oh, I can improve that.
100%.
Because, you learn as you go, right?
100%. Yeah.
And also, one thing I learned, when I got my kind of diagnosis and I was speaking to different people, this idea that all neurodivergents are the same. Like, oh, if you have ADHD or you're autistic, I keep seeing like social media things. ADHD is this, autism is this.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, when I got diagnosed, I was like, well, where's my fucking superpower? Because I'd seen so many things.
Yeah.
ADHD people have superpower. No, we don't.
No.
I mean, I have, some strengths, but I'm still me.
Yeah.
There's things I'm good at, there's things I'm bloody awful at.
Absolutely. That's so human. It's so normal.
Yeah.
You have things you're talented at and things you suck at, which is totally normal.
Yeah.
But I think I would totally agree. Like the superpower thing is something that sometimes also ableistic people are using because they're trying to put you like into, this is where you are. You have superpowers. That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you for letting me struggle. Thank you. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you for diminishing
the
challenges.
Exactly. But the thing is that what I did realize is a lot of neurodivergents have pattern recognition and common sense, what we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that is one of my strengths. Turns out it's not very common.
See, exactly, that's the thing. It's not very common to have common sense and to have pattern recognition, which is something... I would say that some areas of science would even maybe call this kind of supernatural or paranormal, or like some
pseudoscience.
Yeah, it's like, I think everyone has like strengths and also weaknesses, and if you have like an amazing pattern recognition and you can see the future, for example, because of the pattern recognition, not because you have a glass ball, it's a great skill. The problem is as well just that we are living in a society where a lot of people, they always want proof on paper. They want data. They want to have everything black and white. And you're just like, there are things that you cannot explain. I see the shit flying towards us, slowly, like the car crash is happening. And you as a neurodivergent, you're just like, fuck, is no one else seeing that? Seriously? You think that pattern recognition is something, of course, you're putting this together. That's the big picture. No. A lot of people don't see that. So I think it can be like very, very powerful if you know it, if you use it, and if you have an environment that is not discrediting you for not being able to put it down on paper.
That last one,
yeah,
it's like finding the golden egg, though.
Yeah,
and
true.
Yeah, that one that brings me back to kind of the systems thing you mentioned earlier, because that doesn't. I feel like that doesn't exist in our current world. Because so far, like what I'm able to use my pattern recognition, which is apparently, according to my assessment, one of my strengths, I feel like really all I can use it for is, jigsaw puzzles and word searches. But like in a corporate environment.
Yeah, in corporate.
Because if I try and say, but if you do this, and this will happen.
Yeah.
I'm told, but I'm alarmist or I'm not, being part of a team.
Yeah, and then when it happens, They're not getting back to you saying, hey, Elaine, you've been right.
Yeah,
They're not
I'm
doing
just being
that.
difficult.
Exactly, you're being labeled as difficult. And sometimes I struggled with that my whole life. And I always thought, is everyone just stupid or what's going on? Because I was labeled the stupid one, but I always had the feeling everyone else around me was stupid. So I think it is very, very complicated. There is some golden eggs, I would say, not in corporate, but there is environments where you have more and more as well neurodivergent leaders and neurodivergents creating companies. So I think it really exists that you can just go there and they'll be like, ah, yeah, of course, you're the expert in this and this area. This is why you have been seeing this. You've been putting it together. This is your big picture. You see the patterns. This and this is going to be the outcome in 3 months, 6 months, whatever. So I think it does exist, but it is very rare. And my question would as well be, how can we get everyone in society to the point of believing not only in neurodivergence and what they say and what they feel based on their instincts, but also being able to trust their own instincts? Because this is something that has entirely gone missing in our entire society, especially in Western societies, not in other societies. But Western society, the older I get, the more and more I find it bullshit. I find not traditional, this is the wrong word. I find Western medicine, most of it, bullshit. I don't need, vitamin C pills to stay healthy. I can just eat a lemon, or I can just eat something that
Do you eat a lemon?
I eat lemons, yes.
Ooh,
I do.
sharp.
Sometimes, sometimes even with the peel, if it's an organic one, yes.
You are very
I'm that
strange.
crazy.
Lovely, but strange.
Yeah, but what I want to say is that there are so many ways in the Western medicine that is trying to explain you that you need chemicals and this and that to stay healthy or to be healthy or whatever. There is so many other ways of staying healthy.
No, eating fruit is definitely better.
Eating fruit is a good thing.
Maybe
but
oranges rather than lemons.
maybe oranges, yeah. Pick whatever you like. But the thing is that as well in Western cultures, there is no sense of instincts and listening to yourself. And honestly, humans generally, it doesn't matter if neurodivergents or not, are very, very powerful. And they have so much self-healing inside of themselves. And I think that the awareness is raising more and more because you see people that are trying to go more alternative paths, which is exactly what we need to see when we talk about systemic change, right? We have to look at what are the alternatives. And if we look at medicine, for example, it's rooted in Ayurveda. But Ayurveda is labeled as alternative medicine, even though it's the origin of medicine, So those are the kind of things where I think only education for the majority can help to actually fix some sort of issues that we have. And if you have one person that has a different opinion or sees different things than 100 other people in the room that share the same opinion, it doesn't mean that that one person is wrong just because it's one person, right?
No.
And usually we have a lot of groupthink as well. The group doesn't think, which is also scientifically proven, right? One is saying something and then the group will follow because it's easier to not think, but to just follow the path. And this is, I think, something where slowly we are getting out of that as a society and see the truth behind and what is our truth ultimately, right? Because everyone has a different reality, which is super beautiful if we know it. But how can we, interact in the best way with each other to make a positive systemic change for everyone?
Yeah. I mean, I'm very much a fan of everyone is different, we're all nuanced.
Yes.
Even if we both have the same medical issue or neurodivergent, we might not have the same needs. Someone can say to me, oh, you have this, you should try this tea, it's done wonders for me. I hate tea. I'm the worst British person ever. Cannot stand tea. So it's fantastic if it works for you. I'll be over here with my bar of chocolate. That's what works for me. Thanks. So, it's whatever works for you is friggin' wonderful because we all have our different needs, our different processes.
Yeah.
And I think that is grand.
100%. 100%. I think also what I observe in the current healthcare system is that everything is documented. Everything is documented. Yeah, we have documents. We have boxes. But then I'm human to human. Where is the human connection? And this is also why I am 100% certain, and there is more and more research proving that, and I'm looking forward, if we can do our own research on that, that end-informed coaching is much more, is much better than the traditional psychotherapy, because 90% of neurodivergents that I asked in a survey before I started NeuroMynds to validate some of the ideas that I have, said that traditional psychotherapy either didn't understand them at all or even made things worse. And this is something where my heart is bleeding, because I know that nowadays, with all the research that I've done, that if you have a swim teacher that's at the shore and you are in the water drowning, you know, and he's trying to explain you how to swim, it doesn't work because he doesn't feel the water. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. So if the experience is not there, it's going to be really hard. And there are exceptions. There are neurodivergent psychotherapists, but I also know neurodivergent psychotherapists that actually left the traditional healthcare system to also create their own coaching services because they don't want to be involved in that anymore. So it speaks volumes about the developments on neurodivergent support. And I am 100% certain that coaching will be the future. And if we start with the coaching now, especially for late assessed, especially women as well, we can heal them from society, from groupthink, from something's wrong with you, you have deficits and whatnot. Heal that aspect, being able to be in their full power and strength, educating the children early on to embrace their full self, which then will have a ripple effect towards, in 10 years, 15 years, teachers, parents, etc. will have the education and the knowledge to see, that kid might be neurodivergent, and that's okay, because then we can change the systems on the fly, starting with the small ones, with the children, which then should lead to the fact that in 20 years we will not be talking about neurodivergence anymore. So
or at least not be talking about it as something to be fixed.
100%.
Because
100%.
Yes, there are definitely challenges to
of
being
course.
I'm not going to downplay that.
But don't neurotypicals also have challenges?
Yeah, indeed. Maybe slightly different ones to spending an hour trying to search for your phone whilst it's in your hand. But yeah, for sure they do. Everyone has challenges. Different ones. But yeah, I very much agree. I do, as a coach, do think coaching is definitely a way to go. I have neurodivergent friends who have tried traditional coaching, tried traditional therapy, have even been told they're too complex for this because, they've ended up with PTSD, CPTSD from trauma, that their brain, their nervous system is processing differently. We even process pain differently because our brains are wired differently. So, you can't use a traditional method on a brain that's different. It's like trying to, put a British plug into a European plug socket. Like it won't fit. Very, very simple analogy. So I do think coaching is a way. There's a fantastic woman, Paula Jones. She's actually from the UK. She's actually created 2 new coaching methods for women to help resolve the fact that traditional coaching methods don't work.
But it's also the empathy part, right?
Yeah, exactly. She's autistic, so she, as someone neurodivergent herself, she saw the same problems. So she has designed these coaching methods from a neurodivergent perspective to help kind of build in this, this empathy and how this all needs to work. But I totally agree with you as well. Like, we need to be educating parents on this so that the children don't grow up thinking this is something that's wrong with them, that's deficient. They grow up just saying, well, this is just part of me. Like the fact I have brown hair. Like, I'm hard of hearing as well. My mother is also half deaf. And I never thought anything of that, And again, with the dyslexia, she never made anything of that. She just helped support me when I decided because I couldn't hear, I had to basically get more written instructions because I couldn't hear anything properly. And so, she helped support me with my reading, and everything. The idea that I could identify as disabled literally didn't occur to me until I was about 30, because it was so normalized in my household. And by which time, actually, I had chronic illnesses as well. And it was really that made me identify as disabled, because the other things were just so normalized in my household. And that's, to me, how it should be.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
And I want that for all children.
Yes.
You're neurodivergent, grand.
Brilliant.
You don't.
Amazing.
You have a disability, grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was nothing that I was told I couldn't do. I mean, my dad did say, Prime Minister, really possibly aiming a little bit too high.
But even that.
Mainly because you have to, join one of the political parties. Oh, yeah, I don't want to do that. Don't like them, any of them.
Comes with huge downsides.
He didn't say you can't do anything. He just said, that's very, or, if I came up with something, he's like, that's very niche. You might want to plan for something that's a bit broader first, and then try for the niche thing. But he never outright said, no, you can't do that. It's like, you want to try anything, you do it.
Yeah.
Just, you just might have to find a different pathway.
Absolutely.
And that,
Yeah.
that is what I went through life thinking.
Yeah.
I might have to find a different pathway.
Yes.
Not that I can't do this because I was dyslexic and hard of hearing and had chronic migraines, which I have had since I was 11. Just, I had to find a different pathway.
Absolutely. And this is a beautiful way of raising children, not making a big deal out of everything, or giving the child a bad feeling just because they are different from average or what's being perceived average. And I mean, we also have people that are, they get sick during their life. They lose an arm or a leg or whatever. You adapt. But it's usually then the time for a lot of people to understand what it means when the world has not been created for you.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I think that it also has to do a lot with empathy and understanding difference.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what kind of difference it is, but I think that I had a discussion yesterday that was a little bit, I don't know, I didn't make up my mind yet on what to think, but basically it was around coaching and traditional healthcare system. So a scientist or a psychotherapist has a very specific definition by what? Laws, rules, legislations, studies, universities, etc. But the thing is, even if you have technically as a neurotypical person that is supposed to help neurodivergence, the extra knowledge or the extra curriculum that you did to understand neurodivergence, it's still, unfortunately, from an empathy perspective, not really possible to help them in an appropriate way. Because the experience, and this was also a lot of neurodivergents shared with us in the survey that we did before we started NeuroMynds, was that they always felt, they had to enter the room and realize with the very first meeting that the psychotherapist wasn't the right person, after sitting on a waitlist for 12 months and realizing that they don't want to share their darkest secret with that person, right? Or what happened as well is that they just got, let's say, coping strategies to just fit again, like corporate environments or, the systems that just have not been created for everyone in mind. Or sometimes being discredited with their experience. And also, I think that's the worst. That's also something that I had 3 times with 3 different therapists, is I entered the therapy sessions, and after the second or third session, I realized that I had to educate them. So I pay $200 an hour, for the fact that I have to educate them on ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, because it is so complex. It's not enough if you're a psychotherapist and you just study like some extra, because neurodivergent brains from a chemical perspective already work entirely different when it comes to your dopamine levels, when it comes to oxytocin, and all these kind of chemicals are entirely different. So it's two different things. And that's why the traditional system, unfortunately, is falling so short for so many neurodivergents. And that's why I am 100% certain that coaching will be 100% the future. Yeah. And with NeuroMynds, I really want to have this one platform where neurodivergents just get everything they need in one. They don't have to research a lot. Because I researched like for almost 2 years until I got the right information, the right people to contact, you know, the right things. Yeah. It took me so much time and so much pain and so many tears, and I just felt like, okay, this is so frustrating. I want to create something where everything is in one. So also the idea is in regards of coaching, because we're getting luckily more and more coaches as an alternative pathway to really truly support and understand neurodivergence, and to be with NeuroMynds the #1 platform worldwide where we have the majority of coaches that can actually offer the services, and neurodivergents do not have to research. They just go, they book, they get help. Period.
Yeah. No, I love that. Like you, I really struggled when I got my diagnosis, and actually for the first 6 months I completely ignored it because I was so underwater at work. And then when I had some time to think about it, like I mentioned, you know, social media and everything was just these so factual.
Yep.
You must be this, you must be that, you must be that. And I have combined ADHD. So I have the hyperactivity, but also the ADD side of things. So I'm like, but I'm not one or the other, I'm both, you know, I'm a contradiction. Yeah. So, you know, really confused. So I actually did the ADHD coaching course, not originally with the intention of becoming a coach, but just to learn everything, and how, you know, all the management stuff, and that was just so much more useful. But a lot of people are not going to have the time or inclination to do an accredited course.
Yes.
Like I did. I mean, I was off work by that point, and so I had that time and inclination, because I was like, I can't deal with everyone else's knowledge. It all seems very, I'm going to study on my own.
Exactly.
And I didn't know about NeuroMynds yet. Hadn't met you. But it was wonderful for me to have that course, and I only wish I had found NeuroMynds at the time, because I was just lost.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You're lost and you have no idea where to get the right things. And I mean, I don't know about you, but the first 6 months, 12 months, I thought I have a disease. I thought I was sick because I had this diagnosis, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm sick. I have a disease. Something's wrong with me. Then at some point it switched to disabled. Oh, I'm disabled. And I was like, hang on. I am disabled by society.
Oh, yeah.
I am disabled by my environments. Not I am disabled, but I am disabled by my environments, because I cannot speak the truth, be authentic, be direct, you know, especially in corporate. So I was disabled by my environment, and this took me so long to understand, so long. And I also wanted to read about it, you know, I wanted to have the details. And this is why social anthropology is also so important to me. And in a lot of research, this is completely falling out of the category. The whole societal thing, and also especially as a woman, you know, as a girl, you're supposed to be quiet, to sit still and be, yeah, but we are as well like relatively gender fluid. So there is certain traits that are by social definition, these are male traits and these are female traits. Bullshit. I was always like pretty male-y in a way. I loved gaming, I was watching The Simpsons, I was playing in the muddy dirt with my niece.
Simpsons a male trait?
Yeah, that's, I mean, at least where I grew up.
I
grew up, very German village kind of indoctrination, white male supremacy, patriarchal environment. As a woman, you just, And I mean, my mom, she was amazing. She was really like giving me so much leeway and so much freedom. I could do so many things. I could just be myself. But I had these barriers in school, in relationships, when I met people. You know, I always had these struggles that, oh, you're a little bit like a boy. And I'm like, yeah, okay, when you say so, that's good for you. So that's how I grew up. And I think that's also the experience a lot of like girls and women do have in Switzerland as well. But I think nowadays there is no like male or female traits. You have boys that are playing with like Barbies, and that's okay.
That's
you
grand.
have and you have girls that are playing with cars, and that's okay. I mean, this whole like gender thing, I really don't understand why we have this social construct that this is what a girl does and this is what a boy does. And I think this is why it was really hard for me as well as a kid to navigate this, because the outside was telling me this, blaming, mobbing, shaming, marginalizing, gaslighting, etc. But at home I could be myself, which was okay, right? Similar to you could just be you, but then the barriers and the disability, or let's say the disabling thing, came up due to my environment. And if I would have known that earlier, I think it would have been better for me. But at the same time, I think this is why with NeuroMynds we have the knowledge, the education, the information, everything in one place. Still developing that, of course, but so people can just find clarity and just be like, okay, that's the light bulb moment that I needed. I just needed to understand that I have to, or might have to, change my environment to be myself.
I mean, I identify as disabled because of the chronic migraines, the chronic fatigue, and now the hypersomnia.
And the hearing.
Well, the hearing actually I don't, because that's me. And I would actually feel really sorry for people with full-on hearing, because I'm sound sensitive. So I'm like, oh my God, that's really loud. How is everyone else managing? Just like the dyslexia and the ADHD is just me. So I'm disabled and neurodivergent. But yeah, very much agree with the social model of disability. You know, you are not disabled because of you. You are disabled due to society not being accessible and being ableist. So, it's also agree that we shouldn't generalize children. I mean, I did tag rugby and like martial arts when I was younger, before the chronic fatigue got in the way and kicked my ass. Also like extreme sports because I like the adrenaline rush and the impulsivity. Just can't keep up with them because of the fatigue. But I think the traits you mentioned, I mean, I think in regards to ADHD, it was very much considered a male thing when we were younger.
Yes.
I won't say how much younger, because, little boys run around all hyperactive, but the girls are hyperactive in their brain. The brain doesn't shut off. We have inner monologues, which apparently not everyone has. I did not know this until the last couple of years. I thought everyone had a little buddy in their head that, we all talked in our heads and ran through everything.
But did you hear about metacognition, which is the highest form of intelligence, apparently? Metacognition, which is the ability to think about your own thinking. And a lot of people would fall out of that category already. So there's new research that metacognition is one of the highest forms of intelligence, which is really interesting. Okay. And I'm really looking forward to see the development there, because I do think about my own thinking. I tell myself sometimes, oh, Lucy, that's like the negative voice that I have in my head.
Okay.
I'm sometimes telling her to shut up. When Lucy's coming out, she's like, oh God, girl, what have you done? Like, that looks shitty, or this is not cool, or whatever. I'm like, Lucy, shut up.
I don't have a separate name for the voices.
I started giving it names because I wanted to segregate like the negative voice and the positive one, because we always talk about this inner critics, and a lot of people have that, but there is actually people that don't have metacognition, so they don't think about their thinking. But apparently a lot of neurodivergents do. So
I just thought that was
new research coming, but
growth.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence. You grow as a person. You understand yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. More to come. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But I think we just kick ass.
We're just kicking ass.
But I also think that's something, comes with age, where we just give up worrying about what other people think of us.
Oh, 100%.
I used to care a lot more, and now I just think, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm too old for this shit.
I totally feel you. I totally feel you. I had that my entire, until I was 31, 32. I always took care of other people, their emotions, their needs.
I was a little bit older, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Then I got divorced.
Fair enough. No, but I feel like I always had that, and a lot of neurodivergents share that this people-pleasing thing, you are giving it all for everyone else before yourself.
Oh my God, yes.
And that has entirely changed. And honestly, I also had a discussion yesterday where I said, I am a very honest and direct person. Doesn't make me a bad person, but I'm very honest and direct. And the people that are absolutely unsettled by that are usually insecure people, including the psychopaths and the narcissists.
I'm not rude. I'm just...
Exactly. I'm direct. I'm not
direct.
Rude. Exactly. And nowadays, I'm just like, if someone doesn't like that and it unsettles them or it triggers them, it's their trigger. So they have to do the inner work and finding out and realizing, okay, what is it? Why is it that I am triggered? It's not the person that is direct or honest or whatever, because the person is not telling you that you're an asshole. The person is just asking a question to understand something better, or mentioning a fact. And then people get offended sometimes. And I'm like, okay, nowadays, I'm like, that's on you. That's something that you have to fix on your side. I don't care anymore how I come across. And if I'm too direct for people, then I know that they haven't done their work, because I have done my work. And if I get feedback, including criticism even, I'm okay with it. I'm not reacting, I'm reflecting first. Yeah. And if I feel that it was invalidating or whatever, like something super negative that I do not accept, I can still raise the flag. I can still raise my point and say, I would disagree on that, but thanks for sharing, whatever. Whereas back in the days, thanks to my RSD that I had, rejection sensitive dysphoria, I was immediately reacting, and I'm not doing that anymore.
Oh God, I did not even realize that was a thing until someone explained it to me. And I was like, oh, I don't have that. And then I spent some time looking back on my life. And I was like, holy shit.
That's why.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, yes. And I had seen the pattern of it across my life, the way I would always be so defensive against any perceived criticism, because I was always trying so hard to make people happy, to be perfect. Yeah. And, oh God, that RSD.
Do you manage that nowadays, or?
Yeah, because I no longer give a fuck.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm the same. I really don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's like, I want to, I want to help people. I still have slight fairy godmother complex. But yeah, I also, yeah. I understand that not everyone wants to be helped. Yeah. And
100%.
I have to look after myself.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what I experienced yesterday, right? What I told you before. Like, some people, you can't help them yet. Everyone has a different timeline. Everyone is experiencing things sometimes sooner, sometimes later. Wake-up moments, sometimes sooner, sometimes later. I can deal very well with criticism if it's constructive and if it makes sense. But what I cannot deal with anymore, and which is something where I need to set even more boundaries and be more strict, is my time. If someone's absolutely wasting my time, I am getting nuts, because time is my most valuable asset. I don't give a flying fuck about money, about status, or brands, or cars, or whatever. My time is so important to me. I love my time.
It's the one thing you can't get back, right?
Exactly.
Money doesn't buy any more of it.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Unless they create that, cryogenic freeze. But I don't want to live forever. And mind you, there are so many books, wonderful books to read. That would be a purpose, to live forever. But yeah, I can't wait to see what NeuroMynds does more, especially in the research arm. I'm very, very curious to see the research that comes out of it, because there is not enough research being done.
Holistic
in
research.
this. Yes.
Holistic research. I mean, we have onboarded Dr. Ali Jaweed, a professor that holds 2 PhDs, one from ETH and one from University of Zurich. He's based in Poland, but he has 12 scientists that are hired by him, and he has, I think, 15 different cohorts worldwide. So he's really doing a lot of neuroscience and epigenetics, but at the same time, we want to drive things forward, because as well I have so many hypotheses based on my pattern recognition, but I also want to have proof that they're right. And every research, every science starts with an idea or a hypothesis that is then even proven right or wrong. But as neurodivergents, I have high suspicions that most of them will be right at some point.
And who doesn't like to be right?
Exactly. No, but I just wanted to say that he is supporting, like, on the research side, he's doing excellent work, and I'm really glad that we have been able to get him on board to support that. And at the same time, talking about books, I mean, I've been writing Why Suddenly Everyone Has ADHD, 2024, because I felt like all the myths and all this outdated stuff is just not really relevant anymore. So what I learned, even in 2021, when I had my diagnosis and assessment, was not 100% timely anymore to what the latest research and developments have been sharing, and also in light of the fact that I have been studying and researching the field of social anthropology so much the 3 years before. Which gave me like a more holistic understanding of ADHD and why I wanted to actually kill the myths that are out there. And I've been writing it in a very short way. It's very easy to read, and it's a quick book with 50 pages, and that's it. Because I also don't want it to make it like another project people have to be reading. And I'm a person personally, but that's me. I don't like reading that much, to be honest. It really depends, because I have been reading a lot of scientific papers when I got my diagnosis to study a little bit the research and stuff, and I found it like such a painful experience, because I don't like reading big, complex, large things. I do it because if I want to learn something, you can rest assured that I'm digging down the rabbit hole. I'm digging and digging and digging. So I did it, but I found it like, such an excruciating experience. It took so much of my energy. And I know also other neurodivergents in my circle of friends where they also, one of them never read a book in his life, no jokes. He's very talented, very gifted person. Everything he's saying is like so complex and makes so much sense. And it's like, wow, when you talk to him, you're like, oh my God, you're really like Sheldon 5.0. But he never read a book in his life. And when he got my book, he was like, that's good. That's a good start. You know, like I can read something that's easy and not like super complex, super complicated. And yeah, it's quick, easy, done, and that's it.
So where can people download your book?
Yes, so I had it on Amazon. I switched because of the recent revelations. I also...
Amazon being an evil corporation?
As everyone else, right? As most tech giants in the US. So I switched to the Great British Bookshop. So now people can download it there. It's a hard copy. So the thing is that I still have on Amazon the Kindle version, the ebook version, because the provider that I had doesn't offer it yet, but it's coming soon. Okay. So they said it's going to be implemented in the next couple of weeks, and then I will just upload it, publish it, and so at the moment the Great British Bookshop, and you can purchase it worldwide. They're sending it absolutely everywhere.
Perfect.
Yes.
Amazing. And for any coaches out there who want to sign up on NeuroMynds, how do they do that?
So basically you go on the website and you are going to the Grow section, because we have Connect, Learn and Grow. So you go to the Grow section, and then you have 2 buttons. One is I'm looking for a coach, and the other one is I am a coach. And we are obviously looking for more coaches as well, male coaches, because we need a few more of them as well. And basically, if you are a coach, you just click the button that you are the coach, and then you have a sign-up mask. There is some information. So obviously, we need the name, the email address, what are your specialized areas, what certifications do you have, where did you get them, how many years of experience do you have, etc., to do like a proper validation. And then we need a photo, obviously. It's gonna be $30 at the moment because we do that manually still. We're looking for like automated options. They're not in place yet, but I think technically by the end of this year we should have that done as well. So the $30 will be gone. Because I want to have a system in place that is automatically seeing through the certifications and seeing, okay, what is like an accredited certification and what is not.
Yes.
Because non-accredited coaches we're not taking.
Yes, yeah.
Which is
actually a good tip for anyone looking for a coach, whether you use NeuroMynds or not.
Yeah.
Please, 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 please only go with accredited coaches.
Yes, 100%. That's very important because, so then basically you click send and then we get the request and then we are looking at the profiles. I have to say that I had the luxury with most of the coaches that we have on the platform. I also had a personal exchange. So most of them I know personally, which is great. Obviously, we'll have new coaches and more coaches that I might not be able to speak in person. But we're definitely making sure that the quality is good and that also the experience will be fruitful and also neuro-affirming, which is very, very important.
Yeah. Some of the coaches like myself just annoy you constantly and you can't get away from us.
You're not annoying. No, you're not annoying. Not at all.
So fantastic. And if you want a transcript of this talk, the email address to email for that is
connect@neurominds.com.
Fantastic. Thank you. Although captions, of course, are available on this automatically.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I have really, really enjoyed this talk. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about yourself, about NeuroMynds? Any pieces of advice for any of our watchers?
Piece of advice. I think piece
Just to
of
put
advice.
you on the spot.
If you're entering a room and you're not feeling calm, ask yourself why and leave. I think that's the best advice I can give. Trying to leave environments that are really not giving you a good feeling and not being ashamed about it. And maybe what I can add as well is I think we neurodivergents, most of us, we're really trying to make a difference and we're really trying to help our community and being supportive. And I think it's very, very important to seek other neurodivergents, to have conversations, also uncomfortable conversations, because I think we cannot rise and grow if we're not digging into the discomfort that we have. So yeah, those are my 2 sentiments that I can share, and thank you so much for interviewing me today.
Thank you for allowing me to.
And of course, we're going to put the stuff into the show notes. If there are any questions, anyways, you can always reach out to us, and have a lovely day.
Thank you very much. And actually, I just want to have one more thing. Happy Neurodiversity Celebration Week, everybody.
Yay, true. Thank you, Elaine.